Mahalo, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Bodacious Rant with Burn and Rye. We're getting ready for Turkey Day, and another movie has dropped. Of course, it has. That's not going to stop the industry anytime soon. And obviously, if you didn't get with my Hawaiian greeting, we are talking about the latest sequel Disney has to offer, which is Moana 2, starring auli'i Cravalho and then Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, and a couple other people I can't think about, but that's fine. This is a spoiler-free review, so if you do happen to like it, please give us that thumbs up, ring the bell for notifications, and of course subscribe. We do appreciate you all for that, so thank you so much. This is one of those sequels that I think Disney's at that time of like they're definitely reaching for certain stuff. Like Frozen 2 kind of made sense, even though they don't really do a lot of like sequels, or growing up when they did do sequels, they're always straight to video. So it was just kind of interesting changes in the last like 10-15 years. But anyways, so this takes place after the first movie, which came out in 2016, in which Moana, she's growing up, she is exploring the ocean more, trying to find other tribes and other people just to help keep her her village and her people going alive and just surviving. And in doing so, not only does she enlist the help of her fellow tribesmen, but she also enlists the help of Maui, the demigod from the last film, played by The Rock. And yeah, again, with I think I want to say Disney has announced like either it's going to be original films, but then there's definitely a couple more sequels I think still coming out in the next few years. Like we just had Inside Out 2, we had Frozen 2 a few years ago. This is added to it. I don't know how I'm feeling about it, to be honest. And this movie, given I haven't seen Moana, I think since it first came out all those years ago, it wasn't bad. It just was one of those things that I definitely don't think it needed to be here. I don't think it would have made a real difference, but capitalism and then the way the movie industry works, of course we're going to get sequels. This has just been a year of sequels in general, let's be honest with ourselves. Yeah, before I keep kind of getting into it, Burn, and I'm just gonna let you take the reins a little bit. What did you think about this movie?
So I'll start with the positives, and for this movie, I thought the animation was still very good. The first movie looked absolutely gorgeous, and I think this movie does the same. The water effects and like all the underwater creatures and stuff, they're all done in a very dynamic and fun way. Even I would say it's a little bit cutesy, which for me at times could be a little bit too much, but all the characters are very like expressive and fun, and there's a lot of little like ticks and mannerisms that you can spot out in the animation of them that makes them feel alive and makes them feel lively. I thought they had a lot of fun on that aspect, taking what we saw in the first movie and extending it a little bit more. I don't think there's really anything here in terms of visuals that was much more impressive than the first movie. Thinking something like where like the big jump that we saw from Incredibles to Incredibles 2. Nothing like that, where it's just like, oh my gosh, like this looks so much better than the first one. I think it falls very much in line with the visuals of the first one, which to their credit were very good, for 2016. And I think they're still very good now. Then the characters are all fun and funny and very entertaining. In my screening, there was a lot of kids in the theater, and they all seem to be having a very good time with the characters and their interactions with each other. So that was a lot of fun. In terms of everything else, though, I think this movie really kind of fell flat for me. And that was unfortunate, in particular with the music. I felt like the music was the biggest disappointment in this movie. I know in the first one they had Lin-Manuel Miranda, doing the songs for that one. And, even though I think the first movie as a whole didn't really have that sticking power for me, the music and the musical numbers of that movie really stuck out. And I think they kind of propelled that movie further than they probably should have gone. But for this one, I don't know if they got him back. It doesn't really feel like they got him back, because even the best musical number in this movie doesn't even scratch the bottom of the worst musical number of the last one. So that was a real disappointment there. And it felt like the movie didn't know what it was doing with all the characters involved. I mean, the story is very basic in terms of, just going on another adventure. And the cast of characters that they bring in should be interesting, but I don't think the movie finds interesting things for them to do. This much more of an ensemble this time around. It felt like all those characters were just there for the most part, which is very frustrating because they all seemed interesting in their own ways. It's just the movie didn't really expand on them in any sort of interesting way. So that was unfortunate. And yeah, it just felt like there were really no stakes in this movie. And I think the biggest reason is, and I didn't find this out until after having seen the movie, that this was initially conceptualized as a Disney Plus series. And that made its way into becoming a movie later on, and you kind of feel that with sort of how meandering the overall plot feels. It almost feels incomplete. I would say it is incomplete in terms of a lot of the elements of this movie, and a lot of the characters that they introduce just seemingly just forget by the end of it. So yeah, and outside of the animation and the funness with the designs of the characters, there really isn't a lot here for me to latch on to.
That's very fair. I would say it just, again, I don't remember the first one, so I can't really speak to the music or anything like that. But I definitely, with Disney, you have to expect good animation, and they definitely do that. But yeah, the music definitely, it was fun for the most part, but nothing that it did feel a little generic. Like, yeah, there's musical numbers in here, there's some good songs, whatever, but nothing truly stand out. I don't think there's going to be any real like Disney sing along stuff for this. Like, I don't think I'm going to expect people to be singing this kind of stuff. I know some people do still like the original Moana music and stuff like that. Um, yeah, and I definitely could see the plot, like where you're coming from with the plot, like how there's like they introduced a couple characters, but then they never really touched upon them after like we met them or we saw something. So, um, yeah, like I said, I think this is definitely an unnecessary sequel, and I also think we are a little spoiled because Inside Out 2 did come out and kill it this year. Like that was definitely a really worthy sequel, and I wouldn't say this one is necessarily awful by any means. It's just it's one of those movies. Disney did it just to do it. That's really the only reason why. I don't think there was a lot of demand for this. Like, so maybe it would have been better as a series. Just that way you could explore some of the other characters that came in and kind of keep diving into this world a little bit more. So with all that being said, I'm gonna give it a 3 out of 5 just because it was cool, but it wasn't. It just did. It didn't wow me in any way. Again, but like the animation was great. I do like the Rocks and auli'i's. Their voice acting and stuff. They really have good chemistry on the screen. But otherwise, it's not worth it. I would say if you have kids, definitely take them to see it. Maybe not in Dolby or IMAX. Totally up to you. I would probably say like $5 Tuesday, or just wait till it gets on Disney Plus. To be honest.
Yeah, I mean, and big credit to the voice cast. They do a lot. They didn't phone it in with this movie. And auli'i, I thought was really good in the minor emotional moments that we do get in this movie. But yeah, like I said earlier, it's just one of those things where it just kind of just feels more like like content. It doesn't feel like there was a strong idea here to put on the big screen and wow people a second time around, like the first movie did for a lot of people. It doesn't feel inspired in the way that something like Inside Out 2 does, where you really felt like they were trying to do something with that. Here it just feels like it's kind of like how you mentioned earlier. It feels like those old Disney sequels that were direct to videos, like Cinderella 2 and like all those that never saw the big screen adaptation. It was just boom, right into VHS. This feels very much in line with those sorts of movies, and that's unfortunate to say because I think this cast of characters and this world that they created in the first movie deserves a little bit better than this. So yeah, for me, this is going to be a 2 out of 5. Like you mentioned, if you have kids and you just want a fun, light time at the movies, this is barely over an hour and a half. You can do worse than this for sure. I mean, this is just a breezy fun time. If that's all you're looking for, it'll get that job done. But if you're looking for more of that emotional depth that was present in the first movie and musical numbers that to go along with that, you're going to be left wanting more with this one, like I was.
Yeah, I will say on a positive though, like more of a side note, really. I did like the pacing of this one. It's definitely a nice breath after watching back to back like almost 3 hour movies with like Gladiator 2 and Wicked. So hate to be one of those audiences. I'm like, it has to be shorter, but it's like it's just it's a nice change of pace. That's all I'm gonna say.
No, I mean that's definitely to the movie's credit. You get in, you get out, you had a decent time, and you'll probably forget about it later.
Sometimes that is necessary. I still like longer movies though. Don't get me wrong. Like those were fine. Lord of the Rings, all that kind of stuff. But sometimes it's nice to just go enjoy a movie, hour and a half, maybe 2 hours, call it a day, and then there you go. But
I can imagine how it is with kids. You want to get in and have a good time and leave.
oh no, I could definitely imagine it. Like having dated someone with a kid, and then also seeing the kids, especially at Inside Out 2 when we went to go see that early this year. I was like, God bless the parents for doing it, but at the same time, and if it were any other, okay, I'm gonna get into something, but last thing I want to say, if you're gonna take your kids to a movie, take them to movies like this. Do not take them to a PG-13 or rated R movie. Okay, that's the biggest pet peeve I have as a moviegoer. I'm sorry to those who can't get babysitters, whatever, but you gotta take that sacrifice. I'm sorry, but anyways. For those of you who did happen to watch this movie or plan on seeing it, please let us know what you think of it in the comments. Like I said, Thanksgiving is this week, so gotta be thankful for all of you. I'm definitely thankful for my partner Bern, my partner in crime, my good time boy, my rotten soldier, my sweet cheese. We've been doing this for the last 4 years now, 353 episodes in, and we want to keep taking you guys along with us for the ride. Thank you so much, and until next time, stay bodacious and keep on ranting for us.
Absolutely. Many things to be thankful for in terms of this, and everyone who's been with us on this journey. Can't be more thankful enough. But yeah, be good, everyone. Be safe. And as always, we'll catch y'all on the next one.